Hello, I'm back again with another homemade reloading setup. Made some dies for the 410 shotgun that fit in a regular press used for metallic cartridges, and I'll give you an idea what that's all about. And we'll load up one and we'll show you how it works. So I never had much interest in 410 before this year, but with the shortage of ammo, I got some friends that couldn't find any ammo, and so I decided to see if I could load them up some, and I made this little rig here. I'll get that handle out of the way. So what I did was I got some 7/8 14 ready rod. I cut it into short pieces. I've got a small lathe with a 3-jaw chuck that is fairly accurate, so I machine off both ends of this thing, and then when I go to do the actual work on it, I put it in a 4-jaw chuck on my large lathe, and I can run a dial indicator on it to get it exactly centered in the lathe. So that's what the parts are made out of. So what I've got in here is I've got a die made that's just a straight through run, and then I've got a coupler that I made from an old brass gear, and then the top piece, the inside dimensions on it are very close, if not the same, to the old Lee loaders, the hand style that you used to tap with a hammer. And then so it's got the taper in there to finish the crimp, and then this rod here, this piston rod here, pushes the crimp down in the center to completely finish it, rather than with the old style Lee hand loaders you used to put the pin in and tap it down with a hammer. Anyway, I figured that this would work okay, and it seems to be fine. Now, what I've got here is I've got a random die that came from somewhere. I don't know what it came out of. It was in a box of junk that I got, but it's kind of handy for this job because the 410 hull fits loosely in there and easily, but it won't go up through. The rim catches on it, and so I use this for depriming and priming. And then I took another piece of that ready rod and I reamed it out to the exact dimensions for a new 410 hull, and so we just push that up in there and it resizes it. The Lee number 5 case holder works fine on the 410, so that's what I'm using here. And I've also got another random holder that I just made a brass insert for that fits in there tightly, and I use this little table area here to push the primers in. Now, these hulls that I'm loading are terrible. They're Challenger specials, and they are just the most awful thing you ever seen as far as quality goes. Unfortunately, it's all I've got left, and we have to use what we can have available. So here's just a look at what the crimp looks like on a good Winchester AA hull. It makes crimps like this consistently. On these poor quality hulls, sometimes it does a good job, and sometimes it does a bad job. These two here, for example, neither one of them is very good, but they shoot fine. The fellas that I've given these shells to have got quite a few birds this year. There was no shortage of birds, and nobody had any complaints about the way they performed. So let's give this a go. First of all, we'll resize it. And then I've got this pin that I made up that fits in the number 5 holder. And I'll turn it to the other stage. Put that in the holder, and like I said, the rim won't go up into that die, and pops the primer out. Now, every one of these hulls that I've loaded so far, I've had a problem is that the primer pocket too loose, and you can just push it in by hand like that. Terrible. So you can fix that to a certain extent. There's a lad on the YouTube there that he showed me how to do this, and I'm quite pleased about that. He uses a socket for his larger shot shell hulls, but I find that this depriming rod here works just as well for what I'm doing. So you pop it in there. I'll put it in a hole on this old anvil and give it a couple of whacks, and that'll swedge the thing down enough that it fits in there tight again. So now take out the number 5 shell holder and put in the flat one. Oh, and I dropped that primer. You can put the primer right on the pad. Put the hull over the primer and push it up in there, and ready to go. Now take that one out and put the number 5 back in. I've got one of these Lee perfect powder measures, which I really like. Very inexpensive, but very, very reliable. I found it to be anyway. I've got 2 of them and I use them a lot. So anyway, we've got the powder in there now. Put in a wad and some shot. Got the wad and the shot in there. Now I think you can see the view all the way back here. What I've got is an old beer bottle capper that I just made a little table on, and I've got mounted on there a mech crimp starter. Give that crimp a little start there. And push it all the way up in there. Now these are 2.5 hulls. I can do 3-inch hulls with it as well. I just go by feel with the 3-inch hulls. I don't push them all the way up in there. And this one, it turned out not bad. Some of these cheap hulls there, they work good, and some of them don't. So that's all there is to it. If you've got the capability to machine the parts yourself, you can, and if you can't, this explanation is probably enough for a machinist to duplicate it. The only critical measurement, of course, is for the resizing die, which has to be made to the specs of an original brass on the 410 hull, and in this body itself, it's just got to be a nice fit, not too tight, not too loose, just a nice fit that you can put it in and out by hand, and you can just feel it rubbing, you know. And in the top piece, there's just a small taper, and that's all there is to it. Once you've got the crimp started, it goes into that taper and closes it up completely, and then the piston pushes the center of the crimp down, and you're done. Anyway, I hope that's of help to some of you fellas, of interest to some. And one of the things that you can do with a loader for metallic cartridges to load your 410 shells. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.